All right, so Insta360 is back with another mobile phone gimbal. This one is called the Insta360 Flow Pro. And if you did purchase one last year, this is the Insta360 Flow. If you did get one of these, luckily enough, as far as the look and the feel of the actual gimbal, everything is pretty much the same. Same mounting system, same grip, same transparent top, the menus, the button configuration is all pretty much the same. But on the Pro, they did add in some new features as well as ways for you to connect to your phone a lot quicker, enhanced a lot more, I would say, on the user experience side, which is the things that I really like when I look at some of these new products. So in this video, let's go through the similarities of the original Flow as well as all of the new features that the Pro now has to offer. If you guys aren't familiar with gimbals or phone gimbals, they're basically ways for you to balance your camera and your phone so you're able to get nice and steady shots even if your camera is moving all around. These gimbals have 3-axis stabilization, so if you wanted to keep that horizon nice and leveled and you're walking or moving around, you can see here it stays nice and leveled. Also, if you're trying to go forward and back as well as twist, it keeps everything nice and straight. There's a bunch of different modes you can switch to depending if you want your camera to actually stay leveled, if you want it to move, if you want it to tilt. There's a bunch of different modes on this and we'll go through that later in this video. And huge thanks to Insta360 for sponsoring this video and sending me this right here, the new Flow Pro to test out for the past couple weeks. And for those that picked up the Insta360 Flow last year, good news is that the new Flow Pro is pretty much identical. The size of the gimbals are exactly the same. The new Flow Pro comes in this light gray, and it also has the Flow Pro words right here. And you can also see, which is a new feature on this one, it does have an NFC tag here at the very top. And if you have a bunch of accessories for the Flow, it is the same on the Flow Pro. So if you have the phone holder with the magnet on the back, if you have something like the light, they work on both of these gimbals. I also have a rubber grip on both of them. And when I put these on the scale, they both come out to about 398 grams for both of these with that grip on the gimbal. And you'll definitely want to have that grip on there because the plastic is kind of slippery. So you're going to want to include the grip on the actual handle itself. I kind of wish that they would have made the grip on, or the handle on the new Flow Pro already with some rubber grip on there so you don't have to add that accessory on. That would have been a nice feature, but they pretty much went with the exact same design of the very first one. If you want to expand your gimbal out an extra 9 inches, the Flow Pro also has that built in. So you're able to extend it out, put your phone right here at the very top and turn it back towards you. Just to give you a little bit more reach if you're out there vlogging. So they do have that on both of these gimbals. The one thing I do like about Insta360 gimbals compared to some of the other competitors on the market is this right here. We have a built-in tripod at the very bottom of the grip or bottom of the handle. And there's also a 1/4-20 mount at the bottom. So if you wanted to hook this up to something like a monopod, you're able to screw it in there. But like I said, it's nice that they have a built-in tripod. All you do is pull it down, extend it out again, and then you're able to open it up and set it down right there on a table. Some of the other tripods on the market do not have a built-in tripod, so you have to screw on the tripods on some of those other gimbals. Now you don't want to put too much pressure on the tripod. It does bend a little bit, but at least you do have that option. At least it is built in. You don't have to carry around another accessory. Now let's get into some of the advantages or all the new features that the Flow Pro now has to offer. Now the funny thing is that my favorite part about this whole new system is not necessarily the gimbal. It's actually an accessory which you can use on the Flow 1 or the very first one, but it is an accessory for those that have the magnetic mounts on the back. You can get this accessory from Insta360, and it's a magnet that goes right to the very back of your, say, iPhone 15. Magnets on here, and then you can now clamp it onto straight to the gimbal. What's funny to me is that this mount is actually more of a time saver because of the fact that these clamps, while they hold your phone in there really well, if you have a case on your phone, it doesn't really work as good. And also when you put the clamp over your phone, which is just like this, and then you put it on, it sometimes hits the buttons here on the side. And the one thing that's really nice is that once you already have the app installed and everything hooked up, once your gimbal is powered on and you plop this on here, it'll automatically read it for quick pairing. And while we're on the topic of pairing your phone with the gimbal, a new feature that we have here is the ability to not have to use the Insta360 app. Now with the Apple Dock Kit, you can actually use the built-in camera and the video mode on the phone itself. Also, if you're using things like social media on Instagram, TikTok, you can use the cameras built into those apps and it'll automatically work here once you're hooked up with the near field communications. Now, with the Apple Dock Kit installed, and as you can see here, just using that, it is tracking me. So you can actually use the built-in camera and use all of your apps. So right now I'm just using the video app and it's actually tracking using the built-in Apple iPhone camera. And there you go. Now I switched over to Instagram. I'm in Reels. If I wanted to make a reel and record myself, the tracking also works on your social media apps, which I thought was really cool. But it is nice to know that if you just want to get a quick shot and you don't want to launch another app and you just want to stay in the app that you're using, you can now do that with this gimbal. But I do see that if you use the Insta360 app, it does seem to respond a little bit quicker and of course has a little bit more features than using the built-in video app. Now, the one thing that Insta360 does have, I think, an edge on their competitors is that deep tracking. Their tracking seems to work a little bit better than some of the other competitors on the market. It does seem to track the subjects a lot better. And also I tested it out just out in the open, try to go behind a bunch of things, behind some planters, chairs, pillars. It did a pretty good job until you start getting a little further away from it, then it finally lost me. I did talk about this in the beginning of the video. When it comes down to the size of the gimbal, it is the same as the original Flow. And I was kind of hoping that they would go maybe just a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner, but we do have the same size here. This is an iPhone 15. Now I am able to toss this in my front pocket on most of the stuff I wear, but if you are the type to wear a little bit tighter jeans or smaller pockets, this is a little bit bulky to carry around in your pocket. You're more likely to just throw this into another small pouch or a bag. Now, like I said, I'm big on user experience. And one thing I do like about it is that when you open it up, all you do is flip it open, automatically turns on. Once you do that, pop your phone on there, and once it's connected or once it knows it's actually hooked on, you'll get a notification here on the front to launch the app. And once you do that, use my Face ID, it will automatically launch and you're up and shooting really quick. Again, with that new magnet on here, it makes it super simple. I don't have to worry about these clamps that you normally would on the previous model. Now, when it comes to charging, you do have a port here, USB-C port. You have one down here to charge up the battery. That's actually in the handle. One here, as well as a USB-C port here, which is really nice. So you're able to hook up a USB cord from the top, plug it into your phone. That way you can keep your phone charged while you're in the field. Moving on to the very front, we have the joystick that allows you to, of course, turn your gimbal. You're able to change the pan and tilt here. If you wanted to hit record, just press the red button, hit record there, hit stop. If you wanted to switch from front camera to back, just press it once. You're able to switch there, switch back, double tap. You're able to turn it from vertical to horizontal. Tap it again, go back to vertical. And then the bottom one is your power button. You can also use the zoom. There is a wheel here on the outside. So if you wanted to zoom in, you're able to twist it here. And a new feature they added on this one is this little green flashing light. So whenever you're in tracking mode, right now I'm in tracking mode, I'm actually using the video camera on the actual phone, that green light will then turn on and off, letting you know that you are in tracking modes. Now, while the tracking is really good, the one thing that's nice is that you are now able to rotate the gimbal 360 degrees. This was something you're not able to do on some of the other ones, but having that feature here is really nice because sometimes you have that subject matter that comes a little close to your camera, then it kind of goes off. You are able to now rotate 360 degrees. Now, if you want to change your modes of shooting on the gimbal itself, so right now it's in auto mode, which means if I were to use the gimbal and I'm turning, it'll actually smooth that out, keep my horizon nice and level. Now, if I want to go into pan and follow mode, I'm still able to keep my horizon. However, when I do go forward and back, it does keep the angle of my phone nice and flat. So that's the pan follow mode. Then if I want to have full range, I can go into FPV mode, which means all the axes will then move. So it doesn't keep the horizon, it'll actually move just like FPVs. And then finally, the one I use the most, which is the lock function. So with the trigger, all you do is point your camera in a specific direction and you press lock. And once you do that, now the camera will try to lock in place. So if you are twisting your hand, if you're rotating, I know I use this one a lot, especially if I'm trying to do some reveal shots. I'll normally lock it into a specific angle. Now, when it comes down to price, the price of the new Flow Pro is actually going to be cheaper than the original Flow. This one right here, the original one, the Insta360 Flow, comes in at $159. The new Flow Pro comes in at $149. It'll only come in this stone gray color, where the original Flow comes in this white as well as the stone gray. And while the weights of these are very similar, what's interesting is that the new Flow Pro has a rated 10 hours of shooting time, while the original Flow has it beat out 12 hours of shooting time rated on the original Flow. Overall, some pretty nice updates that they made here on the Flow Pro. And like I said before, I'm a big user experience person, so I like the fact that they are simplifying things. The magnet, this one, even if you have the Flow, highly recommend getting this one. If you have the phones where you can put the magnet here on the back, makes it super simple to just keep this on and then pop it right onto your gimbal and you'll be ready to shoot. And if you're the type to do a lot more tracking, definitely the new Flow Pro has some features as well as that new NFC option here if you wanted to use the gimbal for things like conference calls, social media, TikTok, Instagram, and you want the camera to be able to follow you, you're able to do that now on the new gimbal. And there it is, guys. If you guys want to take your mobile phone videography up a couple notches with something like a gimbal, I'll leave links to these products down below in the video description. As always, if you guys got some value from this one, a big like would be much appreciated. This is Ultra Satya with FlytPath.com. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.